Hello, America, and welcome back to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It, the life and times of Jerry Daniels. When you've had your daily dose of today's craziness, dealing with all them Karens out there, ride shotgun with old JD as he goes back and recounts the life and times of growing up in the South during the 60s and 70s. I believe we were called baby boomers. Stories that you will say, yep, I done that, but I ain't gonna tell my kids. And I ain't never told my spouse. But whatever the truth be, it will be this, to hear me tell it. Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It. Hey, I'm not doing the cell phone video thing because it didn't work for me, and I didn't even do. I did the podcast last week, but I didn't do the YouTube video. So I'm not going to do it because already I'm starting to look over there and look over there. I got to come up with something different to hold the phone, but we'll figure it out. But as always, I want to start by saying thank you to the roughly whatever it is now. Doesn't matter. But I appreciate y'all listening, and I'll try to continue to be loyal to do it. So, all right, couple of things. What is today? Today is Wednesday, the 16th of July. Man, is time flying or what, y'all? I know I always say that. Boy, time's flying. Yeah, I told y'all last week or the week before. I wrote an article about the hands of time are far stronger than mine. And as we get older, it's just, man, the clock turns into a damn fan. It's spinning so fast, it seems like. Lots going on. I want to start by saying I'm still disappointed, saddened, a little bit pissed about the whole bee situation. Not happy. But happiness is temporary. Joyfulness is eternal. So whatever God has planned for me and the bees, then I guess that's what it is. But I'm looking at my list here, and I want to make sure I go down the list and hit all the things. But I think I may have said it last week, but the bees have been sold, and the man comes, and he's a retired pediatrician. He actually comes and picks them up this Sunday. So I've got to make more sugar water, which is bee food, to get them through dearth. So I'll make another 5 gallons of sugar water today. I'll feed them today, and then I'll probably feed them again probably the 19th. So I'll feed them today, and then I'll feed them on Saturday the 19th. And then, no, I'll feed them the 18th. That's what I'll do. No. Well, hell, I don't know. I think I'll put the feeders on early. I'll refill their feeders. Golly, y'all bear with me. I'll feed them today, and then the very early morning or the late evening of the 18th, which is Friday, I'll check them, top off their feeders, and let them get as much as the sugar water as they can. And then on the evening of the 19th, I'll take all their feeders off. That way, when the man comes and gets them at 5 a.m. Sunday morning, the 20th, then the feeders won't be on the hives, and it'll be easier to transport than having a quart jar inside there, not really sturdy and banging around and whatnot. So, and then I'll have it set for him. So, but I do it. I've enjoyed the bees. I love the bees. I'm going to miss the bees. So anyway, another thing they can put on my. Well, I'm not going to have a tombstone because my wife and I have squirrel. My wife and I have agreed, and we talk about this a lot because we've been married almost 40 years. But we're not going to be, embalmed and all that mess and put in a grave and have a tombstone and all that. Because the reality of it is, 2 generations nobody knows you, and even your grandkids, hell, even your kids are not going to go and visit. Especially like in my situation where we're not, not like I lived in Butler all my life, but anyway, it's just, I think it's a money racket myself, but anyway. All right. So anyways, it's not going to be, I was going to say, it's not going to be something somebody's going to write on my tombstone. Jerry Daniels, blah, 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 beekeeper. That ain't happening. So hopefully I'll have a memorial service and somebody can muster up something good to say. But if you're going through a list of the crap I've done, you'll be able to add beekeeper on there. All right, that's all I'm saying. The chickens are doing great. I think I mentioned it. I keep looking at the calendar because today's the 16th. No, I forget what day I did it. What's the day? The 16th. Well, y'all don't know this because I'm trying to think what, I lose track of what I say and when I do it. But Jasper the rooster is no longer with us. He went to, I took him to the train station. Took Jasper to the train station. And I'm going to tell y'all, when I got into this, I'm going to keep chickens crap. A lot of folks who got a lot more experience in chicken farming than I do, and we're just doing it for the egg production, is they said, don't name these damn birds. And I did. I didn't want to, but I did because there's a soft side of me. I want to name them. I mean, I'm a pet kind of guy. I do like pets. I love dogs. I love cats. I like pets. And I love our cat. He's cool. And there are some folks that have dogs that go, Jerry, you don't like dogs. I'm like, I shouldn't say like. I don't tolerate unruly children, and I don't tolerate unruly pets because both can be trained. So cats are easy. But going to somebody's house and they got a dog that's unruly, it's I don't know. Maybe it's me. It's not like I don't dislike them. It's not like I don't dislike the owners. I mean, our daughter's got a dog and a cat. Our niece has got a dog, and we've got several friends that's got dogs. I used to work with a guy that's got dogs, but I just don't. It's me. It's not anybody else. Just me. I just don't do well with unruly dogs that don't listen, that haven't been trained. Of how to greet, people that they don't know and all that kind of stuff. My wife and I've had several dogs, and I damn trained them. And I trained them that when they meet somebody, you just don't damn jump up all over them and lick them and all that shit. You can train them. Doesn't mean you're mean. It just means you train them. All right. Anyway. So Jasper the rooster. I shouldn't have named him, but Jasper the rooster is no longer with us. And I did. I went through the effort to train him so that he would not be ugly or mean to me, and he wasn't. He really liked Laura, and he was easy to approach. You could pick him up and hold him, and but he's a rooster. Excuse me. And he got to doing, stuff that roosters do, and that's. I feel bad. I do, y'all. I want to tell y'all. I've done this before, and it's kind of like I remember when Daddy took me dove hunting for the first time, and I forget how old I was, but I was young, and I didn't even have a shotgun, but I was basically Daddy's gopher. So Daddy would shoot a dove in the field, and then I would run and go get it and bring it back. And I remember as a small child going to get this dove, and when I got to him, he was only wounded. And a dove's a very docile, they sit there and they look at you and they got those big eyes that blink, blink real slow. They go clink, clink. And I remember getting there in this dove field, and I picked up this bird and I held him in my hands, and I was holding him. That dove was still well alive. He was only wounded, like he got nicked. And he was looking at me and he's like, I don't know if I did that sound right, but anyway. And I thought, son of a bitch, man, this dove ain't even dead. He's well alive. And I remember holding him, coddling him, and I run back across the field and gave it Daddy. And Daddy grabbed him and snatched his head off. And I remember thinking as a child, holy crap. And the flapping and the feathers and the blood. And I thought, damn, I gotta learn to do that. So that same damn dove shoot, I had to go get another one. I had to go get a lot of dove that day. I had to go get another one. And it was kind of similar situation. And Daddy told me, pull his head off. It's like that movie, The Yearling. I did it. I did it. I put his head between my two fingers, and just like Daddy showed me, and inside I felt like shit, but I did it. And then, it got easier. It got easier. Didn't like none of them, but it got easier to the point where Laura asked me yesterday, she said, about getting rid of Jasper. She goes, because I was saying, we walked out in the garage. I'm squirreling again. I walked out in the garage, and she looked, and I had the big scalding pot out in the cooker. She said, "What is that?" And I said, well, "That's a scalding pot. I got it out to scald Jasper before I could pluck his feathers." And she said, "Pluck his feathers?" I said, "Well, yeah, you got to get the damn feathers off of him." I said, "But I plucked his feathers." I said, you heat a pot of water to 149 to 151 degrees. I don't know who come up with that number, but it's a good number. Let's just say 150. So I got the water to 150 degrees, and then you dunk the bird in there, and you just agitate it. And if you want to cook the feet, then you got to get the feet in there. I don't eat chicken feet. I ain't never ate no chicken feet, and I ain't gonna start to eat chicken feet. But I just held his feet, and I just kept agitating him. Somewhere around the 90 seconds is good. And the way you check him, you just pull him out and you grab his flight feathers on his end of his wings. And if they just come off real easy, that bird's done. Don't overscald him. Get him out of the water and start plucking him. And just go against the grain. You know how the feathers lay, go against them. And you can get those feathers off in less than 2 minutes. You've plucked it, and it's easy. So she asked me, she said, "Did you just mentally detach yourself?" And I said, "Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much." But y'all, it was not easy, and I didn't like it. So when Laura was out of town, because she told me to do it when she was out of town, I know, I'm not complaining, I'm not whining. I know we get softer emotionally, especially in our older age. But I planned it, and I got the scalding barrel ready. And once that water was at 150 degrees, I regulated it so it would stay there. And I went to the chicken pen, and I got Jasper. He was easy to get because he ain't scared of me. He trusts me. He was calm. And I didn't do it in front of all the hens, so they would all lose their frickin' minds. So I got him, and I just walked around behind the back of the house. I do like this, walk around behind the back of the house. And once I got out of sight and hearing so the hens wouldn't hear it, I took care of business. And the mistake I made is I looked at him in the face, and I said, "Goodbye, buddy. You was a good rooster." I shouldn't have done that. So anyway, so I'm a little emotional, but yeah, because I raised him, had him for almost 18 weeks, and he's gone. So that being said, I detached myself. I did business. There's a word for it. I forget what it's called. But anyway, I gutted him, and then once I killed him, I cut him. I let him bleed out. And then after about 2 or 3 minutes of letting him bleed out, good, I went ahead and cut his head off. And then I gutted him the proper way, cut his feet off, got him all cleaned up, had the water hose back there on the table and everything. I took care of business, and then made sure I saved his liver, his heart, his gizzard, and his neck. And then I put them all in a Ziploc bag, and then 2 days later, I made, 2 days later, no, a day later, the next day I cooked him in the Instapot, and son, for 50 minutes. So this is, I guess, the recipe. So I cooked him in the Instapot for 50 minutes. Now we've got an Instapot, but it ain't one of them little tall ones. It's called the Rio. It's bigger. And I put him in there for 50 minutes on a pressure cook. But I put about 2 cups of water, and I put 2 large chopped onions in there. And I went to the garden. I picked fresh basil, oregano, and rosemary. I got all those in the garden. So I went and picked that, put that in there, put about 4 or 5 large cloves of garlic. I just don't throw the whole garlic clove in there. I do peel them and all that, but I chop them in half. So I put those in there, put some salt and pepper to taste, and 50 minutes in the pressure cooker, cooked him off the bone. And he wasn't old enough to really have a stringy, gamey taste, but if I wouldn't have done that, it would have, because he's a rooster. He's got different muscle mass. And then the next day, I cooked up a big thing of rice with celery and carrots and some olive oil, and I cooked up the rice. And then after the rice was cooked, I sauteed the carrots, the celery, and mushrooms in some olive oil. So I sauteed that, got it, medium soft, and then I put that in the rice after the rice had been cooked, and then I added all the meat from Jasper, and then I put it on slow cook, and then I finished cooking. And you don't overcook the rice. So when you put rice in a pressure cooker, if you want to cook rice in a pressure cooker, depending on what the texture of the rice you like, usually about 7 minutes is good. But if you cook it in a pressure cooker and you're going to add it to a soup and slow boil or slow cook the soup, you want to do the rice probably about 4 minutes maybe. So anyway, I cooked the rice, got all the stuff, made basically a chicken and rice soup, and I added the stock. And then, it was good, y'all. It was good. So Jasper was a good rooster. He has served us well, but he had gotten really tough with the hens, and it created a lot of undue stress. It didn't need to be in the flock. And, the hens enough caused themselves stress, and Jasper's job was to settle it, but he's pinned up in a pen, and roosters aren't made to be pinned up in a pen. So roosters are great if your flock free ranges, because he's the dude. But I don't let my chickens free range all the time. I let them out about twice a day, and then I supervise their outdoor activities. And then that relieves their stress. They get out, they're distracted, they're occupied. They're not. But when they're in the pen, not in the coop, but when they're in the pen, and the coop's in the pen, there ain't a whole lot of them to do. And Jasper, being Jasper, just wanted to exercise his authority in a very confined space. And I got a younger flock in there, and then the older flock, the girls have already got the red face, so their hormones are jumping around, and they're fixing to start laying, so they're fertile. I guess they're ripe. And Jasper wanted to screw anything that moves. So anyway, all right. So I'm already at 16 minutes. I ain't even got to the damn topic yet. All right. I apologize, y'all, for doing all the politics. I could do a podcast. I could do a podcast just on politics alone, and I should say the world events, the crap that goes on, and instant mass media has got its pros and it's got its cons. I honestly think it has more cons than it does pros, and I really need to wean myself with this shit, because it distracts me. It distracts me from my focus, which should be on God and God's goodwill and works. So I'm not going to talk about politics. Here's what I'm talking about. We lost a dear friend this week, and I say we, the Taylor County High School class of 1980. We've lost a lot of good classmates. Some of them way too soon. The likes of Joey Moncrief and Kelly Foster. Way too soon. Even a year ahead of me, Dwayne Taunton, who I named our son after, way too soon. So we've had a lot of classmates that, and we're all now in our I'll just say mid 60s, and we lost a classmate, Barbara Fay. I forgot Barbara. We lost Barbara way early, man, way early. Such a joy. But we lost a classmate this week, and her name was Faye McInville, and she married Randy Nelson, so Faye. And we lost Faye. And I thought, man, Todd Smith, a good friend of mine, called me, and he said, "Hey, Jerry, got bad news." And we talk a lot, but when Todd calls me, it's usually not gossip. Todd's very aware and attuned, and he knows that I'm up here and I don't have a lot of connections down there, so he called me to tell me. And I cannot express the sadness of this news. It bothers me. It bothers me. And I also learned this week that although it's that I learned this week, but it happened actually in February, and I didn't even know it. But a shipmate, Chris Morgan, from New York City. Chris was a fine man. He was a anti-submarine warfare operator, and Chris Morgan was a damn good sailor. And he went on to get his commission, and he got out of the flying and the AW thing. He went to a special warfare group, and Chris applied for and got into the explosive EOD. He was an EOD tech, and then he became an officer. Chris is a good man. And he married a very good friend of mine who was also a sailor that worked for me at one point, and she was from Montana. Her name is Deanne. And Chris married Deanne. They had a child. I think they had one son, and they were fine people, y'all. And I just learned yesterday that Chris Morgan has passed away of cancer, some bile something, gut cancer something. And again, it just bothered me. So here I am in my mid 60s, and I'm starting to lose damn friends and shipmates, and it's bothering me. So it gets me emotional. But back to Faye. So I got this news about Faye passing away, man, and it hit me hard. And I thought, damn. So I got to looking for my Taylor County. We call them. This is what the title of the podcast should be about. But we called them yearbooks. But then sometimes we called them annuals. And why do we call them annuals? Because they came out annually. But we call them yearbooks because they were just about a particular year. So I got to looking. I got to find my notes here. But I got to looking for my 1980 yearbook. And I know I had two. And I can't find but damn one. And the one I found does not have all the writings in them because everybody signs their yearbook. So I'm looking at my notes here, and here we go. Where's my notes? Here's my notes. So I got my notes here. I got to do this. I'm still learning the camera thing. So I got my notes here, and I have the Taylor County yearbook for 1974, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. And those last three got all my classmates signing shit and stuff. And then here's my yearbook of 1980. Here's my yearbook of 1980. And what a cheesehead. Oh, I got to learn how to do this. What a cheesehead. Look down here. So down here, you can see, I got to get the glare out of it. We had this machine at school, and it was technology, man. We had this machine that used heat, and you had this ribbon. It was gold, and you could put the letters in there, and you could basically brand it, not embroider. You could brand the damn thing. And so I guess this was maybe Mom and Daddy's book, but you can see here in the bottom of it, where's it at? You can see here in the bottom, what a goober. I branded it Jerry Daniels and Jody Pennington. You believe that? So here's the moral of the story. Not the moral, but a moral of a story is what you think and feeling in high school may not necessarily continue on unless you're Mike Posey and Darlene. They went on. But not many folks do that. They're an anomaly. So here it is, and I put Jerry Daniels and Jody Pennington on my damn yearbook. Go figure. Well, in this yearbook, there ain't a damn thing written, so this had to be Mom and Daddy's version. Yep. So I got to looking, and I'm gonna post it right here when I do the video. You'll see it. But anyway, so there it is. So there's a picture of Faye. What a beautiful woman. A smile, funny. Faye was absolutely awesome in school. And she and Barbara Robinson were real good friends, and now I've lost them both. And I saw Faye probably, 4 or 5 months ago and in Reynolds, and she ain't changed a lick, was bubbly, full of life and joy. I'd never seen her with her grandchild before, but she was with a grandchild, and it was good to see her, and I'm glad I got to see her, but she has passed away in an untimely death, and that's all I know, and I'm sorry to see Faye go. So, all right. So anyway, back to the yearbook thing. So I was flipping through the yearbook, and one thing I noticed is that Richard Melton's picture is not in the individual photos of the seniors. I didn't see him in there, but he's in the big shot the where we stood on the bleachers outside and we had our picture taken. So he's in that picture, and I'm sure today they can probably do things with photography and stuff that we didn't have the capabilities to do it in 1980. But and you'll see here, I'm going to post the there it is right there. So you see the left page, and then you'll see the right page, and you'll see I've got writings in there. And I went through the yearbook, and I did all this writing because eventually, as you can see here, I did some writing, but eventually we'll all be dead. And then if, that's a big if our children even are inclined to keep this crap, they'll at least they'll say, oh, look, there's somebody wrote, there's a picture of daddy or granddaddy. And y'all know what? Over here on the shelf over there, I got my mama's annuals. See, I called it an annual, her yearbooks. I've got my mama's, and some of them are college as well. And yeah, it's a good thing that somebody wrote in there who they were, because I damn sure wouldn't recognize them. And as we get older, we change a lot, and some of us change a whole lot, and wouldn't recognize them for $1 million. Like I went to a wedding a couple of years ago down there in Warner Robins, I think it was. But I went to a wedding, and Lamar Wainwright was there. Y'all, I wouldn't have recognized him for a damn $1 million. It's not a bad thing. It's just he changed dramatically. I had no idea that was Lamar. And I don't know if I would recognize like Keith Parker or Wayne Cummins. And I don't know if they recognize me, but it doesn't matter. So the point is if you got a yearbook and you think there is a smidgen of a likely event that your kids or grandkids might want to keep it, get your damn pen out, start writing things about who it is and whatnot. And as you can see in that picture I posted over here with us, I wrote in there that like there was Todd Smith and Richard Melton and Swain Young and Johnny Griggs and me. And in between Todd and me in that picture was Edie. And we were always three together. So, and you know what? As the reality of it is, it's just a blimp in our memories and our time life and our timeline. It's just a snapshot. And at that young age, in high school, especially in a small town America, I don't know if big city slickers even know what this means, but growing up in small town America, being in school and going through class after class after class after class after class, these are your friends. You were born, raised with them. You played with them. You cried with them. You got your ass whooped with them. Some of us got arrested together. We got into mischief together. We grew up together. When I say grew up, a group of young men, and I'm not going to get into the woke of politics today, but we grew up as young men learning about life. And we didn't know what we called each other. We weren't comrades. We weren't shipmates, obviously, but we were buddies. That's the word I'm looking for. We were damn buddies. And we confided in each other, and we talked about shit like learning to kiss and girls and alcohol and smoking. And we were able to share things with each other as young men that, you wouldn't have shared with anybody else. Like, ass whoopings and being on restriction and the problems in school and whatnot. And y'all, I always know, I'm in this book, and it was a trip down memory lane. And I had forgotten some of this stuff, but I'm going to flip through here real quick, because in the back of, I don't know how they do it today, but the back of our annual, it's got all your accolades and stuff that you did that was really cool. And, I'm going to tell y'all can't see this, but Edie Edwards is all that big stuff right there. Man, look at the shit she did. That girl was smart. And, where's it at? Jerry Daniels. Yeah. I got a little spot about that much. I didn't do very good. Let's just say that. And if it wasn't for Everett Byrd and the likes of Jack McGlone, I probably wouldn't have made it. Honestly, if it wasn't for Everett Byrd and Jack McGlone, I probably wouldn't have made it. So anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about. But going through here, it's got all the stuff that the seniors did and stuff like this. Of course, this is our yearbook. So going through here, it's got the what do they call these things? I don't know what they call them. I don't know what they call them. I thought there was a word for this stuff. They called them. You were. I don't know. I thought it was going to be written in the book, and here I flipped it open, and it's not even calling it there. But anyway, so you get voted by your classmates. So Mr. and Mrs. Viking. Mr. and Mrs. Viking was Edie Edwards and Swain Young. Swain Young's a good man. That was Mr. and Mrs. Viking. And also Mr. and Mrs. Viking was Terry Hill and J.C. Daniels. They were good people. I liked them a lot. But anyway, it's not about all these. But I was voted. I'd forgotten about this. I was voted. Me and Edie Edwards were voted best all around. I don't know what the qualification of best all around is. I'm damn round now. You can bet your ass that. But I'm looking at this picture, and I'll hold it up, so I'm not going to do it. But anyway, so there's the picture of OJD. Yep. Look at that. You believe that shit? Edie Edwards and Jerry Daniels, best all around. Is that a hoot or what? I know, and this is not the way to do a podcast. I know. I'm a rookie. All right, and then I'm somewhere else in here. Hold on. There's best dressed, most talented. You can bet it wasn't most talented. But here I am again. And y'all, I had forgotten about this. But me and Christy Dunn were voted none other than, let me get the book up here. Where's it at? Where is it at? Where's it at? Up. There we are. Christy and I were voted. Let me get the book right here. I'm still doing this wrong. Y'all hang with me. There it is. Christy and I were voted most popular. Yeah, here's what I can tell you. If you get your ass in trouble a lot, you're pretty popular. You go to the office a lot, you're pretty popular. When something bad happens at school and they don't know who to blame, they come talk to Jerry Daniels, you get pretty popular. That's all I can tell you. So I had forgotten about that. I'd forgotten about it. And I don't know what the qualifications are, but here's what I will say is that is a time in our life. That was a time in our life that life was grand, man. We didn't have problems. We thought we did. We didn't have problems. And when I tell people today, I say, oh, Jerry Daniels was a D- student. That is a stretch. That is a stretch. I didn't pay attention to the things I should have been paying attention to. I was a huge disappointment to my mom and daddy. I didn't study, didn't care, didn't understand the value of that, and I ain't gonna blame nobody else. It was me. You know, a lot of people don't know this. I failed the ninth grade. And I thought that getting out of town, remember I told you all this in an earlier podcast, but I paid Debbie Dunn $20 to give me her seat for 4-H camp so I could get the hell out of town, and told Mama, I said, Mama, they got an opening. They just got an opening, and she didn't know it, but I paid Debbie Dunn money to drop her seat so I could get her seat. And I don't know how, because I was a boy and she was a girl, I don't know how I got her seat. But anyway, I got the seat, and I was able to go to 4-H camp because I knew that the report cards were going to come out while we were gone. And that was the first year we didn't go to Rock Eagle. We went somewhere in Dahlonega. It was great. But Daddy called up there and said, you think you far enough? Because he found out I failed damn ninth grade. And if it wasn't for, I know I'm repeating myself, but if it wasn't for Jack McGlone, I wouldn't have made it. So Jack McGlone, call it what you want, he personally took it upon himself to teach me. He was my teacher for summer school. So I had to go to summer school to just pass one or two classes, and I think world geography and history to pass. And then I did something really stupid in school, and I was not suspended. I think I was expelled. Matter of fact, I did something really stupid. and got kicked out. And it was not public knowledge, and Mom and Daddy did something and got me back in. I don't know what they did. I joke about it sometimes. I said, I hope Mama didn't do what Sally Fields did in Forrest Gump's movie and got me back in. I don't think that was the case. It's just a joke. But I got back in school, and I graduated. And again, when I say I graduated as a D-minus student, that's a stretch, y'all. I was absolutely worthless in high school. And I thank God, I'm not exaggerating, I thank God for the U.S. Navy. It fixed me, and it taught me and showed me that I could do things. So I don't know what else to say. So, a lot of sad news this week. Learned that Chris Morgan passed away. I learned that our dear friend Faye passed away way too early. And I do believe in heaven, and I believe Barbara met Faye at the door. How about that? Probably Joey was with her too. Maybe others. But rest in peace, Faye. Rest in peace. I pray that God give you mercy and grant you entrance into the gates of heaven. May you rest in peace. And I pray for your family as they mourn during this time of loss. This is never an easy time. We're humans. Losing loved ones is never easy. And we all deal with sadness and sorrows and the loss of loved ones in our own way. So, and the third thing is I didn't have to put Jasper down. I culled. That's what they call it in the chicken farming. I culled, C-U-L-L-E-D. I culled Jasper, and I made good use of him. So they ain't gonna waste nothing. So, all right, that's it. Next time we talk, the bees will be gone, and hopefully next week I'll report that I have a laying hen. So far, they are the hens are 18 weeks old as of Monday the 14th. So they're 18 weeks old, no eggs yet, and I'm really not anxious. I'm anticipating any day now we'll have an egg. I'm sure it'll be one of them little ones, and who knows, but hopefully they'll start laying here in good order. Now, all that said, and I'm wrapping up here because I'm at 37 minutes, but all that said, yes, I do have another rooster. Her name was Esther, and now his name got changed to Chester, but then his name is now Scooter. So Scooter is a rooster, and yeah, he started crowing. He's a lot smaller. He's an Easter egger. He's a lot smaller, and I'm going to see if he pans out, and if maybe he won't be as aggressive because he's a little bit smaller. But I do have a female Easter egger, and it would really be cool that if Scooter was to mate and fertilize Ginger. I know we shouldn't name him, I know, but he'll fertilize Ginger, and then we'll be able to raise some Easter egger chicks. So if we're able to raise Easter egger chicks, I'll sell them and recoup some of the money. Because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if you're bored and you don't have nothing else to do, go online and look at good quality, not crap, but look at good quality, healthy chicken feed for laying hens. Look at what that shit costs for a 50-pound bag. And I'm a what they call a homesteader, chicken farmer type guy, but we ain't buying truckloads of chicken feed. I only buy it by the 50-pound bags, and I feed them good quality feed. And I add things like heat-treated oyster shells for their calcium and to give them good hard shells, eggs, and I feed them other things, nutrients and probiotics to make sure they don't have worms and they got good healthy eggs and their shells are going to be hard. I do all that. So all that said, if you're wondering why, if you buy good quality eggs from somebody and you go, damn, that old boy, he's selling eggs out of his yard. He wants $5 a dozen. he's taking a hit. Because if you go to the grocery store, and I did this the other day, last week, if you go to the grocery store, the cheapest eggs in the rack are what I found was about $5.30 for a dozen. $5.30 freaking cents for the mass-produced cheap eggs. Up higher is the organic, the free range, the whatever something, Wamadama, rainbows and unicorn frickin' farms. Those eggs are frickin' 8 and 9. I saw a dozen of eggs for $10. $10. $10 frickin' dollars, y'all. Can y'all believe that? Yeah, and I know y'all, during that whole egg thing that Waffle House was charging, extra for if you wanted an egg, you paid a lot of money for an egg. So anyway, yeah, you buy good eggs from somebody that's just a little old, homestead and farm they got going on. You get them for $5 a dozen. That's a damn deal. Get them. That's a deal. And I did finally get in. It's tough, but I did finally get in on the egg candling class, because you do have, in Georgia, under the Georgia Department of Agriculture, you do have to have a candling certificate to sell eggs to people. So I am going, and you got to mark your boxes a certain way, but I'm going to a class in August down in Perry, Georgia, at the Department of Agriculture down there. I guess the UGA's got something down there, but anyway, I'm going to take a class. All right, y'all, that's all I got. God bless y'all. And again, my condolences to Faye and all her family. Man, I'm just deeply saddened by this. I know I keep saying it, but it's hit me. It's hit me hard. And hopefully I'll get out and I'll find my other annual that's got all the writing in it. Because my goal this morning was to find what Faye had written in my annual. And I'm sure she wrote something. But I can't find the damn book. I got to go find it somewhere. It's in here somewhere. I don't know where the hell it is. I damn sure wouldn't have thrown it away. Although Laura wants me to throw a lot of stuff away. All right, that's it. God bless y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching and listening. Please share, like, subscribe. If you're looking at this YouTube, please subscribe. And y'all have a blessed and wonderful week. And y'all do well with this heat, man. That's all I can tell you. Mike Coker, let's go, shipmate. Y'all got 18 holes to play today. Bicycle.